So the other day I did a video on how to reach the secret room indoors, which will take you to the rooms minigame experience. It's kind of like a minigame, although it feels huge because there's so many rooms, dude. There's so many rooms in this thing, but it is a minigame. And once you enter that secret room, it will give you this badge over here called Detour, and you're going to receive that as soon as you enter the experience. And if you reach the first exit inside rooms, you're going to receive this other badge here called Back on Track. It's this one right here. The first exit is it's sometime after A-200, and inside the rooms experience is basically a bunch of rooms. It's kind of like an old version of Doors. It's basically the original game that Doors was inspired by, and so you kind of have to escape the rooms. And finally, the hardest badge to get in this mini game is going to be A-1000. It's the secret badge. So you probably saw a badge with a bunch of question marks. Well, once you earn it, it's actually going to convert from question marks to A-1000. And if you equip this, you get this really cool looking title. Look at that. It's kind of like, it's not really rainbowy, but it's kind of like a really cool grading on it. Basically, this is the best badge you can currently get in the game because it is the hardest badge to get. Only a little over 3,000 players have earned this badge, making it one of the hardest badges to get indoors, at least as of this video. And then the second hardest badge is going to be the Back on Track badge I was telling you about, which is the first exit inside the rooms experience. This is the hardest badge to get currently in the game. And to get this badge, you do need to reach the end of the secret area. So room A-1000 or just room number 1000. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you my solo run from start to finish in segments while giving you tips on how to reach room 1000 without dying. And like I said, it's a really hard badge to get, but after a bit of practice, you should be able to get it too. Before I had to jump into the video, consider subscribing if you'd like and hit that like button if you enjoy playing Doors. So first things first, if you didn't watch my previous video, you do need to reach the secret area, like I said, which can be located at around door 60, give or take. Sometimes it's a little bit later. Sometimes I think I've gotten it earlier, but I'm not 100% on that. I definitely know I've had it like at 61 and 62, and I think even up to 63. It's going to be in a bookshelf room or bookcase room, and it's going to be kind of usually dark, and they're usually like falling over. You'll be able to find a hole in the wall in the bookcase room, and also make sure you've unlocked the gate in the adjacent room. So, you know, just go into the basement there. There should be a dark basement. You need to go and find the lever, switch it. It'll unlock the gate to be able to get into the secret room. Once you're into the secret area, you can enter the first room, and you can pretty much just sprint through the first 60 rooms without worrying about getting attacked by anything. There are 3 entities, although technically there's a 4th. We're only going to cover the 3 that are dangerous. First is A60, which is basically Rush, or an equivalent of Rush. He's a red version of it, and he's going to start appearing on you once you reach room 60. They basically didn't name these guys and just named them after the rooms that they start appearing in. So on exception of A-100, who seems to only appear after room A-120. Not to add confusion, but I know it's a little weird. Whatever. So A90 is the next entity that technically starts after A90, but in reality, he also starts at A60. A little confusing, right? Well, here's why. Between 60 and 90, he's only going to appear with A60, okay? So he can combo you with A60. Typically, what you'll see is he'll pop up just before A60 arrives and just kind of messes you up because, he's trying to get you. He's trying to kill you. The cool thing about him is he doesn't really kill you. He only mostly damages you. But if you do get hit by him again, you will basically die. There's no healing in this mode, so you'll die if you get hit by him again. Again, he likes to combo with A100 and A60, so just be on the lookout. He'll either hit you during it or just right before it, but just keep an eye out for that. Typically speaking, he's going to give you enough time to be able to hide, so don't worry about stopping. It's not like you're going to get hit by A60 or A100 before he goes away, so you're fine. And how to handle A90, just as soon as his head pops up, just pause, and you'll see a little halt, kind of like you'll see like the stop or halt, and after that it'll go away, and then you can continue to resume moving. Now you don't want to move your character at all or your screen during this time, so highly recommend lowering your sensitivity for your mouse or camera. That way you don't accidentally move while he's having you pause. So if it's your first run in this secret area, you definitely want to get your Back on Track badge just to get it over with, because that is going to be the easiest one for you to get right away. And if you're with the party, anyone in your party, whether they're alive or not, as long as they're spectating still or they're active with you, they'll get the badge too. All you got to do is find the first exit, which is sometime after room 200 or A200. And for me, the first time was A203. The second time was A215. And then the third time I ran it, it was like A220. So it does vary. It's kind of RNG, so it's not always going to be the same number. You're going to know that you're near the exit because you're going to start hearing the music when you're in the room just before it. Now, for the secret badge, you do have to all be alive. So if you're with a group, all of you have to be alive to be able to get that badge. So once you're ready to get that badge, go back into the game and get ready for a very long run. I would say give yourself anywhere between 3 to 5 hours, depending on how you do the run. Mine took about 3.5 hours to complete since I do shorter steps to counter A-90. I'll explain that in a little bit. Ultimately, it does just take a long time, okay? It's a slow experience. It's a lot of rooms. It's 1,000 rooms, and you got to get through them all. So as far as how to handle each of these entities, when you open a door, if your volume is loud enough, you're going to hear right away if A60 or A100 are coming for you. There are 2 entities triggered by opening that door. So the A90 is the only one that isn't triggered by opening a door. A90 can just appear anytime and multiple times. So if you're in the same room, he can appear like 5 times, 6 times over the span of however long you're in that room. So he's kind of randomized, but he also likes to combo with A60 or A100. So A90 is just a tricky one. He's really the worst entity in the game because of that. You can't really control his triggering. It's totally random. Now, if the room you're currently in does not have any lockers, then you may need to rush into the next room to find one if you trigger one of these guys, A60 or A100. Otherwise, you can run to the previous room for one. If the previous 2 rooms do not have lockers, by the way, and an entity is coming for you, you're going to have to run into the next room and find a locker. I usually like to keep track of lockers in every room that I enter. It just takes seconds to do, and especially before you open a door, and is really the most important thing that was for me to be able to keep track of besides my flashlight batteries, because without the batteries, you can't find the lockers. As a reminder, A60 is like Rush and comes from the previous room direction, and A100 comes from the next room direction, and he can sometimes come back like ambush. So be careful with him. Just make sure, there's no more sound, period, from him, and you can't see him anymore. Now let's talk about A90 again. He's the hardest entity, but is actually very easy to counter after some practice. First, A90 is very likely to appear with A60 and A100, so it's important to be ready to take a pause if you do hear him. It's especially important because you're likely to be rushing to the next locker, and that's when he likes to get you. Now, I have moved my camera a few times with A90 and died, so again, I'd recommend reducing your sensitivity here, so that way you don't accidentally move your screen and get killed. You also can't move at all until he goes away, so just take your time with him. A90 also likes to try to get you in the 2-story bridge room, so there's a particular room that's kind of metallic. It's like a metal bridge, and you can tell because you can hear the sounds are a little different, but there's a 2-story kind of room that has that bridge, and he likes to try to get you on this one because typically speaking, if you're after room 120, chances are A100 is going to come and try to get you on that bridge. He likes to try to rush you on that bridge, and in that case, you're going to be, doubling backwards, you're going to be running a lot, and that's when A90 likes to try to get you, so just be careful. As far as movement goes, just a reminder on how I like to move is I like to move in like sequences or segments. I don't like hold down any of my input keys, and this is for 2 reasons. First is I've been scammed many times by the game where I get killed by A90 even though I stopped moving. I completely stopped. I didn't move my camera. I didn't move my character. In fact, I had my hand off of my mouse and was only using WASD, and I still got scammed and killed. And this is due to input and server lag. So server lag could cause you to die. And the second reason why I do the pauses is A90 just can't kill me because I've already stopped. I mean, if he appears, then I just don't continue pressing. So it's way easier for me to stop movement this way. This method has worked perfectly for me. It basically made A90 harmless to me. Like, I can't get killed by him. As far as the rest of experience goes, traveling through the remaining doors isn't really that more difficult, so it doesn't progressively get worse. I actually thought maybe it would keep getting worse and worse and worse to the point where maybe at like room 800 or 900 that every room would have A100 or A90. It doesn't get any harder. So it's basically as soon as you have the formula down, the rest of the experience is just time. The downside is you might start getting a little sleepy and this is where it gets you, is you might kind of slip up if you're not paying attention. Maybe you're listening to music or something else, or you're kind of distracted. That's where you can end up dying very, very late in the game, and you start getting lazy and such. So really important that you just stay consistent with your methods. It was really easy for me. The only thing that was difficult was just time. It took a long time for me to complete this, like I said, and you just start getting a little sleepy and just bored. Once you reach door A-1000, just walk in and you're going to get your achievement, and you're going to get this really cool, secret ending room. This is what it looks like, and just enter through the door and then teleport back home, and it's going to teleport you back. And much like the back on track badge, it's going to continue you from the hospital area. So it'll teleport you back to your game with your current inventory that you had prior to teleporting, your balance and such. So you can pretty much keep going. And what's cool is you get to keep the manual flashlight still, which you can then store in the orb before you finish the game and beat Figure. So I'll let you watch through the rest of the playthrough here. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your A-1000 journey if you're going to try to get that badge, and I will see you all next time. Peace.